The World Below.
Okay, panel, I'm sure you haven't forgotten that the three gentlemen seated across from you all claim to be Owen Quinn, who parachuted from the top of the World Trade Center. And Kitty, we're going to start with you.
Well, I'm glad I didn't say I would do it, even for $1 million. Number one, who was with you when you went up?
A fellow by the name of Mike Sergio.
And number two, he was already with a camera, I take it.
Of course.
Number three, who was watching you?
Just Mike.
Well, then how come the police knew about it when you got down to the bottom?
On the way down, there were a number of people that saw it and
Out the window?
telephone. That's correct.
And number two, what are the other two tallest buildings taller than the Trade Center?
Well, the Sears building in Chicago is the tallest.
What's the next
There's
one?
one in Canada. I'm not sure which one it is.
And number one, you're a construction worker as well as a parachutist?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you learn how to parachute?
I just went to a school in Jersey, and I just took it up as a sport.
I see. Number two, is it not dangerous to parachute from such a low height? I mean, that sounds like a contradiction, but is not the Trade Center a little bit too low for safety, for the parachute to open?
No, not if you know what you're doing. You do it
Well, number
correctly.
three, at what height should the parachute really open?
Well, we'll never find out unless Nipsey wants to ask that question.
Well, I think that's a very good question. What is the lowest height from which one can safely parachute? Number three.
2,500 is considered the minimum.
And what's the height of that building? It's 5,000 feet, isn't it?
No.
What's the...
1,350.
I see. All right. Number two, what is a free fall?
Free fall is the time you fall before you pull your chute.
Okay, thank you. Number one, it states in your affidavit that you worked on that tower for a full year. Were you one of the construction workers there?
Yes, I was.
Was it during that period of employment that you planned to make this jump?
Yes, sir.
Were you trained, still with number one, were you training at that time as a parachutist?
Yes, I was involved in parachuting at the time.
I see. Number two, from what type of aircraft do you jump when you do it as a sport?
From any small plane.
Yeah. And number three, did you do any body maneuvering to slow your descent in this particular jump?
Yes, some I used to control the chute and keep it away from the building.
I see. Now, what's meant by...
Peggy, your turn.
Hi, number three, you were charged with disorderly conduct, reckless endangerment, and criminal trespass. What did they do to you?
Eventually, they dropped the charges after about a year and 15 court appearances.
15 court appearances? Well, number one, why did they treat you so much worse than they did the fellow that climbed up the World Trade Center? He only got $1 a foot or $1 or something. Penny a story.
Yeah, I think at the time, whoever was involved with the, who was going to spank me, let's say, was in a bad mood. They didn't like the idea of me going through the security. So they put, you know...
Oh, there's a sourpusses all over. Now, number two, did you get in trouble with your union?
No.
I thought it was brave myself. Number three, did you use one or two chutes?
I had two, I used only one.
But now, number three, when you push yourself off, after all, if you jump out of an airplane, you're clear all the way down, but how come you didn't, your parachute didn't knock into the side of the building?
It did, shortly after it opened, but I was able to get it away from the building.
And what about the parked cars down below? That's a pretty busy section of Manhattan.
Well, that's the reason that I jumped off the northwest side.
What's underneath the north?
Let's go to Bill Cullen.
Number two, did you have two chutes?
Yes, I did.
Did you decide to determine when you would go to your front chute, your emergency chute, on a count basis?
Well, I was using the telephone building as an altimeter.
And you decided at what point to go to your second chute?
After about 50 floors.
Now, number two, I'm going to stay with you. You had to practice this jump somewhere. I assume you practiced it from an airplane at safe altitude, trying to make sure that you'd get open with enough altitude to make it from the World Trade Center. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I had enough jumps prior to that to know what I was doing.
How many jumps, number one, did you have when you made this?
850.
Did you have a wrist altimeter when you jumped from the Trade Center?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Only because of the fact that I'm used to jumping with it and I felt comfortable with it.
Can you get an Android device, number three, that will open your emergency chute without any motion from you?
No.
Number two, can you?
No.
We'll never find out. Because that means our game's over. Now they must vote. They'll mark their ballots, no consultation, no change. Do you think it's number one? Or do you think it is number two? Or do you think it is number three? And we'll pay $50 for each incorrect vote, $500 if all the votes are wrong. Kitty, you got us started. How did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 3. I liked what he said about trying to keep the shoot away from the, and he knew about the people looking out the window, and he knew about the difference in height between the safety and how much the Trade Center had, so I voted for him.
Okay, Nipsey.
Yeah, I went for number 3 because I tried to throw in a spurious figure about 5,000. That's almost a mile, and he gave me the 1,300 foot height of the building. I voted for number 3.
Peggy.
Number 1 looks like Robert Shaw. I never saw he'd be good with fish. I voted for number 3. He's got, looks like Gene Hackman. You just think he'd do that.
Okay.
Movie star day here today.
Bill Cullen.
Lemon is good with fish.
Oh,
I didn't know. I voted for number 2 for the simple reason that I was standing there that day on the 18th floor looking out the window.
get out of here.
Went right down by. I said, hi there. Yeah, there he was.
Yeah. Okay. Did I say it? If I didn't, $50 for each incorrect vote,
Please.
and $500 if all the votes are wrong.
Oh, you said that before.
Oh, did I say that before? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out because I'm going to ask that great question. This is the part I really love. Will the real Owen Quinn please stand up? $500, yeah. Congratulations. Well, he couldn't have done it without his teammates, as the expression goes. Let's find out about the imposters. Number 2, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Tom Miller. I do inventory control for the Nestle company.
Well, number 3 got 3 votes, and Peggy, I want you especially to listen to his name, what he's doing now, and what he used to do. Number 3.
My name is Gary Wood, and I'm an insurance broker with John M. Reeling Company and a former football player of the Giants.
Gary Wood from the New York Giants, yeah. Well, Gary, you did a fantastic job along with number 2. And Owen, congratulations, $500. We thank you for playing to tell the truth. Thank you, our 2 imposters. Thank you very much. Well, our next guest is often heard to mutter, out, out, damned spot. But believe me, Shakespeare has nothing to do with it. You come back in just a little over 2 minutes, you'll see what I'm talking about.